Hi, everyone. I was asked to represent the cooperative AI subcommunity a little bit as well. And I'm not the only representative of that subcommunity here. We have Jillian, who was just on the panel and made many of these points. But in cooperative AI, we think a lot about the fact that we actually have multi-agent systems, multiple AI agents, but also multiple humans, multiple institutions, and so on. And we worry about things going wrong between them. There's some interesting examples of algorithmic interaction going wrong. A nice one is the flash crash from 2010, where suddenly, for no good fundamental reason, the Dow Jones collapsed, as you see here. It's a complicated story, but a big part of it was algorithms that trade automatically played a big role in this. Now, the worry is that as AI systems become more capable and become more broadly deployed, we're going to see this type of thing happen in a lot more domains. It doesn't require a lot of imagination, but for now we already see AI being deployed and LLMs being deployed in kinetic warfare. So that's a concern. In our lab, we think about a lot of this game theoretically. So here's kind of an abstract example where we have a game. So here we have two agents that each have to pick a number. One picks a row, one picks a column. And the point of this example is that here, actually, we've done a very good job aligning the individual agents in and of themselves, in the sense that their utility function agrees almost precisely with ours as humanity. And the other one, the same thing, but it's a little bit different, right? So they haven't converged exactly the same way. And now the point of this game is, I don't know how much game theory you know, but the only equilibrium of this game actually turns out to be the bottom right corner, where actually everybody, the agents and we, have a terrible utility, even though we got so close to aligning them. And this also means, like any standard reinforcement learning algorithm that focuses only on the agent's own utility is going to, if they both use it, it's going to end up here. And so that's the kind of thing we think a lot about, as Jillian said before as well. How do we structure things so that this does not happen? So this is a little bit in general about cooperative AI. I want to jump in now to a position paper that we have here at ICML, also with Stuart and others. And this relates back to Oliver's talk, where we're thinking about how we align large language models. And all the ways that we do so today involve human feedback at some point. Okay, here's RLHF, and you see the orange boxes where we need human labelers to provide some input. Similarly, in constitutional AI, by the way, I'm still stunned that now we have computer science papers where Appendix C looks like this, identifying some human written principles. And then, of course, there's also good old-fashioned prompting. So what you see here was part of the prompt for GPT-4, in particular for how to use DALL-E. And we had a blog post on that that goes into the details of that and how it changed from month to month that I hope you will find interesting. But the main point here is that all of these involve humans giving feedback in some way or other. And there's, of course, always the question of, well, which humans get to give this feedback? And if they disagree, how do we aggregate across this? And in our position paper, which will be here later at ICML, we argue that social choice theory is actually the right theory within which to think about this problem. And we also talk about how that interfaces with safety. We actually think that this would make systems safer if you do this well, but I'll defer you to the paper. In my last little bit of time, I want to point out something different, which is this blog post that I had with Joshua very recently on what large language models can tell us about ourselves. David made the point on the panel that actually, in many ways, I agree that the response to ChatGPT has actually been underwhelming, right? While many people have played around with it, it's sort of left that, well, that's that. Okay, let's go on with our lives for many people. But I think what we talk about here, I think that's sort of especially true, maybe even within this community. There's this question of, well, we should reflect on ourselves a little bit as well, right? What are we really? What do these models tell us about ourselves? And this also relates to the point I think earlier made on the panel that, well, a lot of us now feel that, well, we don't have the right expertise to answer this or that question, right? Traditionally, it was sort of the non-computer scientist saying, well, I'm not a computer scientist, how can I weigh in on this? And now even the computer scientists to some degree are worrying about this. Well, what do I know about governance? And I think this is something we need to address. And I think this issue comes up here as well, right? That maybe cognitive scientists and so on don't necessarily feel like it's their place to make these, to analyze these kind of questions. And meanwhile, we as computer scientists don't either. So I think we want to think a little bit about how we transcend disciplines and maybe build up new institutions that allow us to transcend disciplines in this way. Thank you.